Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the podcast this week. I'm so excited we get to do another Etsy success story and hear about a tool that is going to revolutionize some of your businesses. This is a good one. So before I introduce today's guest, I want to make sure and tell you to come back next week because we're going to be doing the winter, kind of Christmas, winter, holiday season 2024 trend report. And we're going to be going over what Etsy has put out and published for us about what they're noticing as trends. But in addition to that, I'm going to be doing a bit of a deeper dive on the trends that I'm seeing, because a lot of times, you may have noticed if you've been watching these trend reports, they're not always profoundly helpful. We can always take away tidbits. There's things that Etsy shares that are kind of point us in the right direction. But I want to get a bit more specific with you and give you an idea of more kind of pinpointed micro niche areas of opportunities and trends that I see happening across Etsy, to give you a taste of actually what my upcoming subscription service is going to include, but also just because I feel like we need to go deeper with these trend reports. I feel very confident now in my ability to summarize them for you, and that I can bring you even more value if I elaborate on what just Etsy has published. So make sure and come back for that next week. That is going to be power-packed. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about with the subscription service, so over the years, I have been able to talk to thousands of you and find out what your biggest pain points are, what you need, the things that you're not as comfortable doing on Etsy, like you don't know how to do it yet, and or you don't have the time. And the overwhelming feedback I've gotten is, what are the trends? Lizzie, can you tell us what the trends are? If you can just show me what to go after, then I'll create content. I'll create listings for that. And so what I have done is I have decided to create a monthly service where you will get an email from me every week telling you what the trends are so that you can save light years of time and not have to do all of the research. It will include not only a list of like the keywords and the things that are trending, but a short video example showing you what I'm seeing on Etsy so that you don't have to, go figure out where to look for this and see what the visuals are that go along with it. I'm going to be really helping you with that and just serving it up to you every single week in an email. No logging in anywhere, no Facebook group. I'm just going to email it to you and you will have it and be able to access it. And that's going to be awesome. So if you're interested in that service and you want to know when it's going to come out, you want to know the details, that's going to be announced next week, but you're going to want to jump on the list that is linked in the show notes. It'll say like trend report subscription. And it's not going to add you to my main email list. I'm just going to make sure and get you a heads up. When this first comes out, we're going to have really special introductory pricing that you can get grandfathered in on to get it at a great discount. So make sure and go onto that. I will not abuse your email at all. It'll just be for the purpose of letting you know about this. Just a couple emails you'll receive about it, and then you'll be off my list unless you want to get on the main one. And then the other thing that is about to come out is I'm going to be doing some group coaching calls for ultra beginners. So if you feel like there are tech things, maybe Canva questions, Etsy questions, things that, you almost feel embarrassed to kind of ask in a public setting because you're like, oh, I should know this. Everyone else seems to know this. Or you just feel like that's your block. I was exactly like you. And so I'm going to kind of gather a bunch of us together and I'm going to show you how to do those things. Answer your really beginner questions, do some group coaching so that you can get going. Because I really believe that doesn't need to be a barrier for you to get started. You just need someone with some experience, big sister Lizzie, to hold your hand and show you how to do some of those basic tech things or answer those basic questions and get you that coaching that maybe you'd feel embarrassed to ask in a bigger setting, and or you're not quite interested in like purchasing a one-on-one. Like that feels like a little much, but group coaching sounds great. So jump on that list if you want me to shoot you an email about the times and slots and how you can get registered for one of those group coaching calls. Okay, so make sure you come back next week because Trend Report's going to be for every single, whether your physical product, whether your print on demand, whether your digital product, you're going to want to be there. Today's guest is fascinating. He has been on the podcast before. Stephen Chen has become a friend of mine, and he is an incredible entrepreneur. One of the few people who actually talks faster than me and thinks much faster than me, especially with mom brain. It put me to shame, but such a great conversation. So Stephen, let me read you his bio first. He's very humble. He just sent this little bit, and I'm going to elaborate. He says, Stephen was an Etsy seller who sold over 220,000 print products, specifically leveraging personalization. He has since launched HelloCustom, the only personalization automation software for Etsy print-on-demand sellers. So Stephen's going to tell you his story, but he started back at the beginning of the pandemic, and he has made well over $3 million on Etsy. And he has a lot of just insight and experience and stories. And so this is really a very helpful interview, no matter what you do, because customization, especially for a new seller, if you're really happy with your sales, you don't want to do customization. It might be still interesting for sure to listen in, because I think anytime we listen to another success story, we get inspired. But if you're really trying to break out on Etsy, this is really for you. Customization is the way that I have put every single shop pretty much on the map that I've done, with the exception of a few. But this was the main way that I got started on Etsy. And if you're in the print on demand space, you've got to pay attention to this, because this software that Stephen has created at like a ridiculous price, we're going to talk about it later. What did he say it's called? He now has like a lifetime access where you just pay for it once, super, super cheap. And you just have access to it forever. It's not going to be a subscription. Like, there is no reason every print on demand seller shouldn't have this, because what it does is, he's going to tell you better, but it's going to integrate your Etsy with your Printify, so that when a customer orders and puts something in the personalization field, HelloCustom is going to edit it for you. So you're not logging into Canva every single time. That's the cumbersome part about the customization piece, right? Is it's just like, oh, it's all this extra work and I only make a couple dollars because it's print on demand. Like, this just takes that whole headache out of it. And it's just extremely accessible for everybody. So with that being said, come listen to Stephen's story. He is a delight and an extremely smart man. So please help me welcome Stephen to the podcast. Yay, Stephen, welcome back to the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Excited for today's discussion.
Yeah, I'm so excited because HelloCustom has been on the move doing cool things, and you continue to churn out completely incredible success stories that have everyone's jaw on the floor. And so I'm just like, well, we need a piece of that over here. We need to hear more. So I'm going to make sure and link the last episode for people to hear. But would you just refresh our memory? Tell us, I mean, also, it's always so interesting when a guy like you gets super huge on Etsy, and we're just like testosterone. So tell us how you got drawn to Etsy and what happened.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a year since our last podcast together. So for anyone who's new or doesn't know my personal story, I'll kind of start with the origin and kind of how that led to HelloCustom. So I kind of started off as an Etsy seller back in June of 2020, the time of COVID, the time of face masks. I launched face masks on Etsy. And we literally went from 5 sales a day to 500 sales a day overnight. I rode the face mask wave for about 6 months. That's how I made my first $1 million on Etsy, with selling face masks on Etsy. But that business literally died overnight. We went from like 500 sales to 0 sales overnight when the mask mandates ended. At that time, we found a new love for Etsy, a new passion for selling print products on Etsy, as well as we had a warehouse, a team, equipment. We did everything in-house. I did not know that print on demand existed at that time. I thought if you were an Etsy seller, you had to do everything in-house. So we started from my garage and grew into a warehouse within those 6 months. So we just rebuilt the business from the ground up. We launched Christmas ornaments back in, I think, this time, 2021. Sold tens of thousands of Christmas ornaments. We launched dog collars. We sold personalized dog collars. We sold personalized picture frames. We kind of turned it from face masks to more of a general print shop. We tried to specifically go after print products that you could not get print on demand. So it was a higher barrier to entry, harder to get into those opportunities, less competition. And we were, as a result, able to grow the print shop back to the numbers that we were doing with the face masks. From doing that, when we launched the face masks and when we launched the more general products, we decided to even make the barrier to entry a little bit higher. So again, we decided to only launch personalized print products. We saw that there was a lot of success for personalization on Etsy. It was something that a lot of the competition was not doing because it put more manual work for every single order. So we decided to only launch personalized Christmas ornaments, personalized dog collars, personalized picture boards. And as a result, we found a lot of success. but it was a love-hate relationship where, when we had 1,000 orders a day, there was a stack of orders we loved, but then we now had to go over to Canva and just grind to Canva to manually personalize every single order that came in for the next 8 hours straight. So,
oh my gosh.
So from that pain point, I thought there had to be a tool out there. There had to be something other than Canva to help in the personalization of our products. There wasn't, and the pain point was big enough that we decided to go build a tool. We initially tried to build a tool for ourselves as our competitive edge, to be able to have automation over the competition. And then over the year of building this tool, we decided, hey, this would be an amazing tool to resell. This was a tool that we built for ourselves from our pain points as an Etsy seller, doing personalization at a high volume. And it turned into a pretty cool tool that we decided to launch that tool almost this time last year. And it's called HelloCustom. And we've been live for about a year now. HelloCustom is the only automation tool that automates the personalization for print-on-demand products if you integrate with Etsy, Printify, and soon to be Amazon. So it's really cool to kind of see where this has evolved even in the last 1 year.
That is bananas. Also, like just the way that you kept switching gears. I actually had a question about that. Have you found that it works really well to kind of follow a trend and stick with one product that you're banging out? Or is it better to have the diversity? Because it sounds like you've really mastered the, let's go after, one thing. I'm curious where you're at now with that.
Yes, that's a great question. So essentially, I like to work in sprints and doing a single pillar at a time. So essentially, we found an opportunity with Christmas ornaments. So we went all in on Christmas ornaments. We did all of the product research, the market research. We created the listing templates. We only focused on Christmas ornaments until that was fully built out. And then when that was fully built out, we then launched, the next opportunity that we found was personalized dog collars. So then we went all in on dog collars to get the market research, the product research. We were only focused on dog collars. And the reason why
did you stop ornaments? Did you pause on ornaments then?
No, we did all of them at the same time. So ornaments is a seasonal product. So the ornaments kind of did amazing during the Q4 rush, and then it died down like January 1st the next year. So we're like, hey, let's look for a more evergreen product. And we found that dog collars sell just really good year round. And then when we launched that, we were selling about 100 a day, 365. So essentially the reason why I recommend focusing on one product type at a time is because of all like everything, your SEO, your titles, your tags, the design attributes, everything is more kind of product specific. Like the designs that I did for the dog collars was very different scope than the designs I did for the Christmas ornaments. It was just kind of different than the designs I did for my picture frames. So if you can kind of just be in that lane and just really adhere to what design attributes do really well for Christmas ornaments, and you're just focusing on Christmas ornaments, you're able to create designs faster, launch products faster, and then just, again, build out the entire product category first. Once done, then move over to another product category.
Would that all be within the same Etsy shop? So you're building different lanes within it, or different shops for each product?
So for me personally, yes. Essentially, there are other people that teach other ways, and I feel like everyone teaches how they found success. And this isn't like a one shoe fits all, where some people have found. So some people found success in doing a single product, a single niche on Etsy. They found success. And therefore that is what they teach. Some people found success with doing all products, but one niche on one shop, found success. Therefore they teach that. What I found success is I was like, I don't want to have multiple Etsy shops, multiple logins, signing into different shops throughout the day for customer service, signing in and out of apps. I was like, I want everything underneath one house. That way it's just easier for me. And as long as my designs are complementary, where if someone sees the dog collar side by side with the Christmas ornament, side by side with the picture frame, I'm selling to the same customer. Like, oh, that's cute. That's also cute. Oh my gosh, you also have ornaments. Versus it just looks cluttered, misplaced, doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. As long as all the designs are complementary to all the products and all the other designs, I believe in having a hybrid shop, everything in one house, to make it easier for yourself, but also you're able to piggyback off of all of your reviews. Like when I launched dog collars, I had 10,000 reviews from my face masks and my ornaments. So when I launched my very first dog collar, my very first listing said 10,000 reviews. And I think that's one of the reasons why we were able to scale so fast versus if we launched a brand new Etsy shop where it's at 0, it would have been a lot slower pickup.
I think it just really blows a lot of the myth out of the water that, but the Etsy algorithm is going to get confused about what you sell. And so they're not going to sell. That's one of the reasons I love your story. And I like for you to share that piece is because so many people are stuck in the mud of I can't do this. They're limited in their thinking because they think that's going to be a limitation. And yet you have these kind of random things together but the common thread is the customization. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. So a couple of different layers there is one is Etsy is a search-based platform where someone goes to Etsy, they type in mom shirt, and then your shop doesn't show, your products show. So if I have a mom shirt, my mom shirt's going to show, not my ornament, not my dog collar, not my picture frame. So essentially I'm able to have multiple products, and the more products you have across multiple different niches, the more wider for different search terms you can search for, you can rank for. So if you're only selling in the pet niche and someone is looking for, a grandma sweatshirt, you don't have a product for that, even though that sells amazing during Q4 as a Christmas gift for someone's grandma. You're stuck in your lane. So you're almost handicapping yourself where you can only rank for this much of the total opportunity, which is why I recommend going across all niches with all relevant products that tend to do well on Etsy. With that also is, we sold in multiple different product categories at the same time on one Etsy shop, and probably less than 1% of our products were multi-orders where they bought one product plus another thing. So another reason why people like to keep them product specific is the $35 free shipping on Etsy. If someone buys maybe a sweatshirt from one print provider and an ornament from a different print provider, they get free shipping, but you're paying shipping twice, one for the sweatshirt and one for the ornament. Again, for me personally, it was less than 1%. So therefore, hey, you might be break even or in the red on 1 out of 1,000 orders, but the benefit of being able to piggyback off of reviews and the simplicity, it's worth it. The give and take, I think it's net positive. But the last layer there is we made sure all of our designs were similar niche, where we didn't have, a bunch of political designs side by side with our cute designs. We didn't have a lot of gothic crude designs next to our really cute designs. Those would be conflicting designs where if someone came to the shop and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't like these products, but these ones are okay, it'd be kind of mismatched. So I would recommend if you did do a hybrid store, only be gothic or only be, cutesy, or only be one side of the political party, not both. Make sure you are in your lane. That way you're no matter what product you sell or niche, it's the same person likes all designs and all products that you sell.
Okay. So you're not just saying, make sure they're on different pages, not next to each other. You're saying pick your angle for your shop and stick with it. And then just go with a diversity of applications of different products that show those kinds of designs. Is that correct?
Exactly. 100%. So for us specifically, we went after the super kind of cute, colorful mom designs. We didn't launch a single gothic, a single crude, a single political design. Whenever we saw those, even if they were selling amazing, we're hey, that's just not our shop. That product cannot go onto our shop. So we just removed that from the opportunity list of products that we need to create. But if it was bright and colorful and something that you would wear in public as maybe a soccer mom, that was the kind of design that we would have for our shop.
Okay. I love it. I just feel you're blowing so many myths out of the water that especially the new sellers come to the scene with it. So this is so helpful. So let's dive a little more into the customization. I think when I was running my Etsy shop, I definitely had custom options, and it was very at times it was great because for a new seller, it helps you break in. And I want you to talk about that more than me. It helps you break in a way that people who aren't willing to do the work can't, but it does require an extra level of work. So I love that you're kind of solving some of that for us in a major, if we use print on demand. But can you talk about kind of the advantages of it? And I'd also love to know how you kind of figure out what to try to customize. What are your kind of strategies in your head for how you find a winning product?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, if you look at the competition, we're all selling on Etsy. So your competition or other Etsy sellers, we're all leveraging probably Printify for the fulfillment of the products. So even in the last couple of years alone, millions and millions and millions of people have launched their Etsy print on demand business. Again, all selling on Etsy, all getting their products from Printify. So when the playing field from you and the competition is very eye to eye, we're all selling to the same customers with the same products, with the same price, lead times, quality control, similar niches that are doing well on that marketplace. How do you stand above that competition? The only way that I was able to stand above the competition, because I am not a graphic designer at all, was by just enhancing my designs with a layer of personalization. Again, I noticed that when we first started selling personalized products, there was just a lot of print products on Etsy, a lot of print products, but there wasn't a lot of personalized print products. And Etsy is a marketplace where personalization thrives. People go to Etsy to find and buy unique goods that you cannot find anywhere else. And as a result, custom products tend to do they tend to do better on Etsy. So it's a marketplace that thrives with personalization where competition is just not doing it. So therefore, I found an opportunity, kind of a gap in the market, to just take my simple designs, mostly just a text element and a clip art that I bought for $1, and I just added a layer of personalization, launched it onto a product, and it just did better than the competition because it was a higher perceived value. So essentially, I didn't do anything that was too complicated. Again, I'm not a graphic designer. So my level of personalization, again, of the 220,000 print products that we sold that was personalized, 99% of them was just, again, a clip art that I bought that I didn't even create. I bought the clip art on Etsy, added a name element, added a date element. That was it. So you can change Samantha to Steven, you can change 2023 to 2024. Super simple personalization, but it still had that layer of value to the customer. And then also when you were doing the personalization, it was super easy to bang those out because we were doing them manually. But even with just the simple personalization, it would still take about 2 to 5 minutes to personalize the graphic because you have to find the Canva file, edit it, download it, send it to production. And then if you were using Printify, it takes about 2 to 5 minutes to update the order, going to your other orders tab, finding the product, linking it, shipping it, and getting it sent out. So again, that's kind of why we decided to build HelloCustom, to fully automate personalization and the fulfillment with just a single click of a button. So it kind of opens up the opportunity. So now selling personalized print products on Etsy is just as easy as selling non-personalized print products on Etsy, but it's still something that a majority of the competition, even though we've been out for a year, a majority of the competition is still not leveraging personalization. So it's still a great opportunity for someone to adopt personalization if they haven't already, leverage a tool to automate it, and still try to keep the business as semi-automated as possible.
Wow. I hadn't even really thought about it that way before, Stephen, like how literally there are so many designs out there. Like you said, there's people who don't want to deal with it and they don't even know about HelloCustom yet because you guys are killing it and your success stories are nuts. And we need to talk about that in a minute, but people don't want to deal with the hassle of it. And so there are so many designs that are doing extremely well that have nothing custom on them. And you can kind of borrow from that. You can say, okay, this kind of retro thing, these kinds of flowers, I can put these together, but then I can incorporate a way to make it personalized. And I have 10 other questions. Wait, what products are you seeing to do the best? Like, are people doing t-shirts? Because I'm like, I wouldn't see that maybe for like a party. I was just at a camp reunion this weekend. I'm like, okay, we all could have had personalized t-shirts, but what products are working really well for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially going back to like, again, a lot of people are not currently doing it, mostly because a lot of people have already designs that are already selling well. So they're kind of staying in their comfort zone of like, hey, I'm finding some success with non-personalized products. But we have so many users. Like I have an interview on my YouTube channel with a lady named Bridget, who she says in the interview, like, I've been watching you for a while now. I was not doing personalization just because I just didn't want to do the extra work. But I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to do it. I've seen enough of your videos. I was like, I'm just going to just do it. And she's like, all I did was take my best selling products that were non-personalized. I just added name. I just made them personalized, relaunched them. And she tripled her sales in the next 3 months. She went from like 100,000. I think she made like an additional $200,000 revenue the next couple of 3 months or something like that. So that she like just tripled her incoming revenue by just adding name to her top selling SKUs. So it could be as simple as just make your designs personalized. And she ran all that through HelloCustom. So that was also going into a Q4 season as well. So like right now when we're recording this, we're about to go into a Q4 season where, again, Q4 season is when everyone's buying someone a gift, and giftable products tend to do better when they are personalized. So it's just a perfect time to take a mom sweatshirt, a super simple like mom sweatshirt, but then put the children's name on the sleeve or the children's name below it. That's way more giftable from the kids or from the husband than just a sweatshirt that says mom on it. In terms of products that are doing really well right now, that tends to kind of fluctuate depending on the seasonality or the time of the year. Like we're going into getting closer to Halloween right now. So what's doing really well right now is like personalized Halloween tote bags that with like, a really cute kid design with maybe the kid's name on it. And in 2024, where they're using that as a personalized trick or treat bag, like that's doing really well right now. But going into like just the Christmas rush, Christmas ornaments are just like crazy. Like sellers go from like, they sell hundreds a day, 1,000 a day Christmas ornaments. And if you don't currently sell Christmas ornaments on Etsy through Printify, I 100% recommend doing it. That we sold Christmas ornaments for 3 years. They only sell like 30 days out of the entire year. Like the month before Christmas, there's like a huge spike. Christmas ornaments in those 30 days before Christmas made more money than all my other products combined that were selling every single day throughout the year. Like that's just the sheer volume of the Christmas ornaments during a season of the Christmas rush. So those tend to do really, really well. Other products that are doing well right now, kind of as we're going to be getting into colder weather, is just personalized sweatshirts. So again, like mama on the chest and a nice floral font with the kids' names on it. A sweatshirt that would probably be giftable from someone else.
Okay, and I'm seeing a lot of the sleeve design, right? And Printify's able to do that now, where they'll print the names on the sleeve or whatever you want on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I think the personalized sleeve sweatshirts was probably birthed this time last year. Like it was kind of like the origin of that product was like was the Christmas of 2023. And then it still does well, whether you put the personalization on the chest, underneath it, on the sleeve, or if it's a short sleeve. Sometimes I've seen on like the sleeve right here, but you can do those products with Identify.
Stephen, what do you think about, like, a lot of my listeners are still thinking about Etsy. They're gathering a lot of their information, or they're brand new and they're having trouble kind of getting their sales to where they want them to be, kind of plodding along. What would be like some advice you'd maybe give them in terms of how they could, adopt HelloCustom, link it with their Printify, and be able to kind of see something sort of take off? Do you have any suggestions or tips for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for people who are kind of on the boat of like wanting to try Etsy, I would say 100% do it. Etsy, before Etsy, I tried and failed like 6 other business opportunities. I've tried them all. And selling print products on Etsy was the one business model that I was able to find success and then grow everything from that. And I still, even to this day, believe that selling print products on Etsy is probably the most viable way to make money online for a first-time entrepreneur, even if you have no experience and no design experience. So it's just like by leveraging print on demand with no inventory, no upfront costs, and leveraging an audience in a marketplace like Etsy that is super easy to use. There isn't a better combination on the market right now today to where I would say like just get started because this is a great opportunity to do. In terms of people who are maybe just getting started and starting to get, start launching designs, it's really hard to not compare your journey to someone else's journey.
Yes.
When you're maybe listening to this podcast, like, hey, Stephen made $3 million. He sold hundreds of thousands of products. That was over 3 years. And prior to that, 6 years of trying to even get to that step. So I'm like way more down the road of maybe you just getting started 6 weeks ago. So it's really hard to like not compare your journey to someone else's journey that isn't where you're at. So therefore, just like focus on where you are at. What's the next step for you? In what direction are you going? And then just continue to take action and be consistent, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. It does take time. It does take consistency. But right now is also the best time to do that because we are going into a Q4 rush where everything just 10X's for the Q4 season, October, November, and December. So even if your sales are 0 today, I would still recommend putting in the time, focus all of your bandwidth, all of your attention to giftable products that will hopefully just skyrocket during Q4. And then you can piggyback off of that success, those reviews, the sales, the revenue, and then just reinvest back into your business as we go into Q1 of 2025. And the last piece of advice is essentially a lot of these things just take volume in regards to a lot of like top sellers. A lot of people I talk to are like, they're like 1 month in, they're 3 months in, they might have 40 listings. And that sounds like a lot. Like I have 50 listings, I've spent a lot of time on 50 listings, but a lot of people who are maybe doing 6 figures with print on demand have maybe 500 listings, or even 1,000 listings that,
right.
When only like 20% of your listings actually sell, it just takes more, So again, like not comparing your journey to someone else, but also like knowing that, hey, I'm only getting a few sales a day with 50 listings. What if I had 100 listings, and then your next 50 listings are probably gonna be better than your first 50 listings because your design skills get better, your research skills get better, your listing quality gets better. So again, it's just a journey that you have to just like stick to it, be consistent, and see it all the way through.
Hey guys, are you in the print on demand niche on Etsy? I know a ton of you are either already working in it or you're fascinated by this niche, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Heather, who makes $15,000 per month selling print on demand in her Etsy shop. And wait for it, she's helped her students as an Etsy coach build 5-figure and beyond print on demand businesses through her absolutely phenomenal free and paid trainings. Like seriously, guys, her courses are so good. I bought her flagship course myself. Imagine if you made $100 plus a day with minimal effort, had the potential to quit your 9-to-5 and be your own boss, stopped trading your time for money, and instead work when you want to. Get 10 to 20 plus sales a day organically from a store you began 6 months to a year ago. Have the ability to work anywhere, only a few hours a day. This is the beauty and freedom of print on demand that has so many of us extremely excited. Print on demand is only growing and new products are catching on left and right. So let me reassure you, you're not too late for this party at all. If you want to get started with Heather's free POD webinar, how to earn your first $10,000 with Etsy and print on demand, just go to heatherteachespod.com. That's heatherteachespod.com, or visit the show notes of this episode.
I think a lot of times, we hear left and right that folks kind of coming to it are wondering, well, I mean, even customization, isn't that pretty saturated? I see your custom thing here all over the place. And what I would challenge someone new to is really to understand how you can find your micro niche opportunities. They're not the ones that are going to make you $1 million, but they are the ones that are going to help you start stacking sales. And the more that you can bring traffic into your shop and sales into your shop for more of the micro niches, which I'll explain in a second, the more then you can start selling in some of the bigger ponds. Your shop just gets stronger with every sale. So if you're doing really well, for example, and I haven't actually looked at this, but something that always sells well is like if you get really specific on like dog or cat breeds, because people are obsessed with finding one for their exact thing. So you can figure out which breeds are kind of underserved. And you can create things for like the Chiweenie mama, like there's tons of stuff for a doodle, but maybe not a Chiweenie. And I'm just throwing that example out. But you can kind of get that edge by bringing in the customization piece and finding these opportunities where there are really, really specific things, an RN, tons of nurse stuff all over Etsy. But, there aren't so many things for the CICU nurse. So that's the cardiac intensive care unit nurse. Lots for labor and delivery, lots for the general RN. But if you get more specific, and the way that you do that is you learn how to find the micro niches. I have like a little mini course that I'll link because some of you are going to be like, how do you do that? But it's basically using some keyword research tools to dig into the numbers and see, okay, where are there searches happening on Etsy, but there aren't as many competing listings for those. But Stephen, what are your thoughts on that? On like what do you typically say about the saturation argument that people bring to the table? I mean, I think you're not going to compete for a mama sweatshirt coming in brand new, but I think there's still opportunity, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's two ways you can approach that. So one is like the bigger the niche, therefore the bigger the pie. Therefore, it's like you just want a slice of that pie. The bigger the pie, the bigger the opportunity to be able to dive into an opportunity. So like I actually released a video about a year ago, like going over like 6-figure niches, like the big niches, like engagement, wedding, anniversary, pet memorial, and like the niches that I personally sold in. And a lot of people in the comments were like, those are just too big. I'm too scared. I can't dive into those because I'm a new seller. But like, I would almost encourage you to go after those niches because the opportunity and the sales velocity for these big niches are so big. And if you're only just trying to get a couple of those sales, again, the pie is big enough to where everyone can get a slice of those pies. So I would never be scared of going after the big niches. But parallel to that, there's also a huge opportunity in getting more granular within those niches. Like you're saying, like for example, the first product that I ever sold was my first face mask was a corgi dog. It was this random thing I threw out there. It was like a corgi on it. It was the first thing I ever bought. And my buddy Jesse, who's done like 5 times more sales than I have, so he's done like 800,000 sales on Etsy and Amazon. The amount of wiener dog and dachshund dog mugs that guy has sold is crazy. So again, like on a specific breed, there's opportunities there. And we even found success on our last year of selling Christmas ornaments, taking some of our designs and going more granular with it. Like one of our best sellers was First Christmas in Our New Home. And we launched a variation of that called First Christmas in Our New Apartment, because there's home and apartment.
Oh.
The apartment one, there was just way more sales for those ones because there's also less competition. We also had an ornament that did really well. It was like First Christmas Together. But then we launched like First Christmas as family of 2, First Christmas as family of 3, family of 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're a little bit more granular within like First Christmas Together. And they all sold because they're more hyper specific to someone who is also First Christmas as family of 3.
I love it. Oh my gosh, you know what's so funny? I get ragged on for talking really fast, and then I talk to you, Stephen, and I feel like I can't keep up with your brain.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it so much. I'm laughing because I literally take heck for this all the time. Do you know Cody from Gold City Ventures?
I think we've been emailed a few times. Yeah.
You guys would be a riot because you both actually talk at the same speed. And usually he's the only one, but it's funny. I feel like I need caffeine to talk to him, and I need to remember, I need like double espresso to keep up with you. It's so funny. I love it so much. I'm going to link that video because I think that's really helpful, but I want to ask you this. How do you, as a new seller with like few or no sales, and you're like trying to compete where there's thousands and thousands of competing listings, are you suggesting using Etsy ads to get your listing showing?
100%, yes. So
okay.
100%. So that was something that we did on day one, and something we never turned off ever in the 3 years of selling on Etsy till the day we closed our shop. January 1st of 2024. And again, the reason why we closed our shop was so we can go full focus on HelloCustom. I just didn't have the bandwidth to manage a 12-person team, a 7-figure Etsy shop, and try to build software. There's more opportunity for growth, I think, with the software. So that was the reason why we closed it. Nothing against our Etsy shop at all. That's a common question we get whenever I say that. But for people who are just getting started, whether you already have 1,000 reviews or 0 reviews, whenever you launch a new product, you are not ranked on page 1. You're probably ranked on page like 5, 10, 15. And you want to get ranked for that product because it's a good rule of thumb that like 80% of all sales for any given search term are acquired on page 1. Like when someone types in exactly what they are looking for on Etsy organically ranks like what they think is the best product for them as number 1, and then the next best product for them as number 2, and then the next is number 3. Therefore, they don't really have to go to page 2, 3, 4, 5 because they already are given to them as the best products at the top of page 1. So literally going from page 2 to page 1 can be the difference of like 2 timings your sales or 3xing your sales. So you have to gain that rank because there's no visibility on page 15 for any given search term. And the number one thing you can do to drive the organic rank is sales velocity. So that's, again, it's a chicken and an egg scenario where like if there's no sales velocity on page 15, but I need sales velocity to get to page 1, how do I get that sales velocity for my product in the first place? That is where you have to turn on Etsy ads, where they are going to take your product and promote it as an Etsy ad to the top of page 1 for that search term. Your organic product will still be on page 15, but you're paying to be displayed on page 1, where that listing will start to get sales and sales velocity. And every single time that listing gets a sale, your organic rank will go from page 15 to page 14. He gets a few more sales, goes to page 10. He gets a few more sales, goes to page 5. And eventually, as you're paying for the organic, now you're ranked on page 1. And then now your organic listing will start to get sales. I wouldn't at that point ever recommend even turning off Etsy ads. When we had our organic ad, when we had our ad on page 1 and our organic on page 1, it was about 20% of our sales velocity was from the paid ad, and 80% of our sales velocity was from the organic. So that's when you start to make the profit. You start to make profit with the organic sales, but we would still never turn off the paid because then our sales would probably go down by 20%, and then we'd probably drop in rank. So we got to keep that 20% to maintain rank with the organic one.
Well, and the more times they see that same picture, the more likely they are to click on it. So, we get a whole different discussion about Etsy ads. What I'm just going to throw out for people who are hearing that, because I know you've heard different things. Don't run ads. You're going to waste a lot of money. Do run ads. It's your only chance. I'm personally a fan of Etsy ads, but I'm a fan of making sure I'm being like responsible. So if I put out a new product and its ads are on for 2 weeks and it never sells, I realize I've got to go back to the drawing board, and I'm not going to just keep throwing money at that because something is clearly not converting. And I think a good thing to do is to really study the ads that are there right now that are selling well. So use your Everbee extension and look and see how many sales each one is getting, so you can see if that ad is converting, and if it is, pay attention to what that photo looks like. Not to exactly duplicate it, but to get inspired about what it needs to look like. Because I think a lot of times the ads don't convert because the photography isn't there, and that's an issue I see with new sellers.
Yeah, I completely agree. One thing I'll add to that as well is Etsy ads is PPC. It's pay per click. So if you turn on Etsy ads and no one is clicking onto your product, you're not paying any money. So you only pay Etsy money if someone clicks onto your product, and we want people to click onto our product, right? So if someone clicks onto our product, now they're on our listing. They're away from all of the competition on our listing. And if you have done the correct product research, the correct market research, you have a good product for that search term, you are relevant, it will probably lead to a sale. So when you have everything done correctly, it gets to a point where it's like Etsy's not taking enough of my money, because if they were to take more money, then I would get more clicks and I would make more money from my Etsy ads. So essentially, people fall in 2 buckets when it comes to Etsy ads. Either Etsy ads is not spending their budget, or it is spending their budget, but it's not profitable. So this is kind of where, I always recommend turning on Etsy ads because it gives you the data faster versus just waiting for the data and the clicks. So you need to see your impression to see your click-through rate. You need sales to see your conversion rate. And you need to know those numbers to see where you need to fix your product and your listing, to where, again, if Etsy is not spending your budget, that means no one is clicking onto your product, which means your main image is either not relevant, is probably most likely irrelevant for the search term. So if someone typed in, mom's sweatshirt, and then you have a t-shirt showing, you're just irrelevant. Like your thumbnail image is irrelevant to that search term. So go fix your thumbnail to have a higher click-through rate. Because again, it's PPC, pay per click. If they are clicking onto your product and it's not profitable, like, hey, I spent $50, I made 0 sales. Therefore you have a conversion problem Like you got the click, but when they saw the product, something did not lead to it. And the number one thing you can adjust for conversion rate is your listing images, your price point, and your price point. So your price point and your lead time. So those are a few things you can focus on for the conversion as well as for the click through to hopefully make ads profitable and work for you.
Have you done a video about this on your YouTube channel? I don't even know if that would be helpful to your brand, but that would be so great.
It's something I get asked weekly, and it's something I've promised for over a year now. I just haven't had time to make it, but like I could probably sit down and talk for like a 1 hour about everything Etsy ads and the different buckets and the strategies and relevancy and the, like where it would probably be like there isn't a lot of content on Etsy ads just because a long time people it was almost like a taboo topic. Like when I first started on Etsy and I was looking into it, everyone was almost scared to say like you need Etsy ads because everyone was like you don't need Etsy ads, like you can do it organically, and no one wants to hear that you need to spend money to make money. But then I was like, I'm not telling anyone that. Like I literally spent like $250,000 to make my $3 million. It takes money to make money. And I would not have made that much money if I never had Etsy ads. And I love Etsy ads and I stand by them 100%. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm going to teach it. So therefore, as a result, I think now more people are like, okay, yes, I use Etsy ads too. And I just need to come out with a full training. So hopefully that does come in the near future.
I think, and this is like such a different thing, and we need to launch into what HelloCustom does here in a second. And also we need to have an Amazon conversation. But I want to say that with what they're changing right now in the algorithm, where it's not going to just be a whole page of search results that shows the exact thing from 100 different sellers, they're trying to change it so that you get more diverse options on a page so that you have more choices, which, I mean, pros and cons. But my guess is they're not going to be able to change the Etsy ads in that. So you're going to have an even better, it's going to be even more important. It's going to give you even more of an edge than it has because you're going to be able to show up on the top of the search results when, even if you're not too low down organically, you won't now because they're going to try to show more diverse things. I don't know how they're going to do it, Stephen, but I think it's really interesting what they're up to.
Which is another reason why, for people who are just getting started, why I think Etsy is a really good marketplace, where Etsy's algorithm, they try to share the love. And essentially, like, it's not one seller just all of page one. It's not one seller getting all of the sales. That they, like, if one person is doing really well, sometimes they even suppress some of their visibility to give other people time to get sales and other people time to shine. Because Etsy is a marketplace that should, in theory, be handmade marketplace. And if you are getting all of the sales, then quality might go down or lead times might go up. So therefore, they try to share the love. That way, it doesn't put too much burden on one seller to try to output the whole opportunity. So that's something that's completely different than Amazon. Amazon is like, if you are the best seller, you are the best seller. And if you get 100% of the sales, like, you've earned it. There is no change in algorithm or change in rank with the algorithm. It's like, it's just sales velocity, where there are some products that just dominate all sales. But again, for Etsy, someone who's just getting started, Etsy tries to level the playing field as much as they physically can.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so tell us about how HelloCustom works. I know it's a very visual thing, and I'm going to link, like, there's a really good tutorial I know that's on your YouTube channel, and I need to link that as well. Would that be a good thing to do, just to show the actual, like, the screen share sort of thing?
Yeah, so we have a full tutorial on our YouTube channel, but to give you kind of a high level of how it works is, again, HelloCustom was built by Etsy sellers for Etsy sellers as the origin. So built from the pain points of physically just doing hundreds of thousands of personalizations manually. So it was birthed out of like the actual pain point and the actual needs that you need as an Etsy seller trying to do personalization on with print products. And also, so there, as a result, I think it's very, in my opinion, it's very clear and easy and very single feature in what it does, because that's like all we really want to do is you want to just do personalization, do one thing and do it really well, where there isn't any other tool in the market that does what we do, or where we fully automate the personalization for you. There are a couple other tools where when there's a sale on Etsy, they try to email the customer a link to an editor and have the customer do all the personalization for themselves. And one, it's like, are they going to open their email? Does it go to spam? They're mad that they have to do it themselves. They paid for you to do it. Lead times, what if they open it on a Monday and then they do it on a Tuesday and then now it's late on Etsy? So we are actually the only tool, like when an order is placed on Etsy, we use AI to just personalize it for you. So it just comes to you as the seller done, where we have an approval queue where essentially the AI personalizes the graphic. We show you the personalized graphic side by side with the Etsy order information. So you can say, hey, yes, this is the correct product to this design. This is the correct personalization. It did it correctly. You hit approve. So you just have to click one click of a button. And then we take that product, that order over to Printify, and we create the order, ship it over to the customer. Once shipped, we go back over to Etsy, mark it as complete with the tracking information. So essentially it takes 1 minute to create the template, one click of a button every time it sells. And it literally takes something that used to take 2 to 5 minutes to personalize, 2 to 5 minutes to fulfill, to just a single click of a button. And we're the only ones that can automate the full workflow for an Etsy print-on-demand seller.
Which is insane. So because again, your brain, you are so technical. If I'm ordering a custom ornament, HelloCustom can help with like the font. Is that what they can pick their own font, or they can change what the name says, or tell me more, what will it customize?
Yeah. So another really cool feature of HelloCustom is we didn't want to be a design tool. We just wanted to just be a personalization tool. Like everyone loves Canva and yes. Kindle as well. But like I love Canva, and I would not trade Canva for anything else. And I would not want to use another person's design tool in order to do personalization. So we created a PDF to editable template feature where like you can create your designs on Canva still. Just download it as a PDF, your finished design as a PDF, upload it into HelloCustom, and then we'll convert it back to an editable template instead of our editor, fully editable, to where all you have to do is essentially click onto it. If you're doing a name, for example, click onto the name and just tell HelloCustom, hey, this is a name personalization, and click on the date and say, hey, this is a date personalization. And then when that product sells, HelloCustom will just change that text element from Samantha to Steven, and it would use the same font, the same color, the effects, and then it would just change the text in that text element. So the graphic would be the exact same as if you did it yourself, or if you had a VA do it for you.
Hey there, How to Sell Your Stuff fam. Real quick, I want to make sure you guys know about my most popular free resource that's waiting for you over on my website. Seriously, thousands of people have downloaded this puppy because it's so packed with meaty tips to help you get more sales in your Etsy shop. So first of all, just a little background, or this won't mean much to you at all. But in case you don't know my story, when I first started my Etsy shop in 2016, I had been blogging for a while and had built a decent following on Facebook. We did a nursery reveal for some DIY reclaimed wood signs that my husband built, and we painted with homemade stencils. It's so cringeworthy now. And a few of my followers were like, oh my gosh, those are so cute. They're so rustic. Where can I buy those? And so as you can imagine, the wheels were just turning in my entrepreneurial little mind. With my baby, I wasn't going to be able to continue the social media consulting work that I've been doing because I was constantly on these team calls and needing to do hours and hours of deep focused work. And it just wasn't going to fly. And I really wanted to be present with my daughter. So that's how I ended up on Etsy. And I decided to try and sell reclaimed wood signs. It was the height of the farmhouse craze. So just imagine, like, thank you to the lovely Joanna Gaines, everything farmhouse, everything painted wood. And I thought with my blog followers, I might just have a bit of a leg up. But I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I put in the hours. I got my first round of products ready, photographed, meticulously put together my listings, clicked publish, and absolutely nothing happened. And I think I made $60 total in the first few months because of my blog followers. And then it was like absolute crickets. So like you may feel if you're just getting started and not seeing results yet, I was confused and definitely a bit discouraged. I for sure thought that I was onto something, and I didn't know at all why it wasn't working. But the thing about a true-blooded entrepreneur is that we ultimately see business like a puzzle to solve, right? Like we find ways to make it fun. And we're a little bit stubborn and determined to just figure it out. As I always like to say, thanks to the book and phrase coined by Marie Forleo, everything is for figure outable. And so I dug my heels in and started studying everything I could find about making sales on Etsy. I studied the competition. I poured through best-selling listings all over the internet. I took an Etsy course and I started testing things. And lo and behold, by about 6 months, I was making more and more and more sales. Like I just keep learning and tweaking and growing and testing until it started to work. And I built my monthly income to $6,000 plus per month. Like there were even months when I would hit 10, 11, or 12K. And it was the best feeling ever. Like if you can just kind of put yourself in that moment where like you figure it out and you start really making the money. So full circle, back to that free resource that started this whole conversation. When I moved into the Etsy coaching space, I sat down and I wrote out everything that I had done to create results, like all the changes and tweaks I made that turned into more and more sales. And from that, I wrote the first rendition of my Etsy course, Listings That Sell. So I had somewhere to house like all of the details. And I created a free PDF
outlining 4 major strategies I used so that I could help someone new or struggling to at least get started without having to invest in a course, right? So that PDF is called The 4 Strategies I Used to Grow My Etsy Shop from 25 to 6,000 plus per month. And it is by far my most popular, most downloaded freebie. You can absolutely check it out. The link is in the show notes for you. And I hope it gets your wheels turning and helps you start to move the needle in your Etsy shop in the direction of your goals. So grab it today, and I cannot wait to hear about your takeaways. So is it pulling from like what the customer types into the personalization field on Etsy in their order?
Exactly. So that's kind of why we have to use AI, and also why I feel like a tool like this has not existed, is because on Etsy just gives the customer a text box where they can type in anything they want, independent of what the product is, independent of what the personalization is. So again, doing it hundreds of thousands of times, we've seen it all. Like, hey, I love your product. Your shop is so cute. Great weather today. By the way, can the name be Steven and the date be 2024? Where it's like to try to take all that text to then find what name is and what date is. We have to use AI to, sift through the paragraph, find if the template has a name and a date, to go find a name, go find a date, extract that to then go dynamically personalize the graphic. So we have to use AI to make the personalization.
I think that is amazing and so game changing. Like, talk about just taking so much of the headache. Thank you so much, Steve. I feel like you need a very big thank you from us. So let's talk about Amazon for a few minutes. There's been this big change now where Printify is now integrating with Amazon, and now HelloCustom. By the time this rolls out, you'll be rolled out. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited for the Amazon integration with Printify. I've been asking Printify for an Amazon integration for over 3 years now. I could probably pull up an email where I first asked them for an Amazon integration 3 years ago, where they said they were working on it. Come to find out, they paused the Amazon integration for the last 3 years, mostly because the Etsy integration was just blowing up. They were just growing by millions of users a year to just maintain the Etsy integration. But the number one reason why they chose not to move forward with the Amazon integration is they felt at the time that it would just be a losing battle for their merchants, at least compared to Etsy, in that when you sell on Etsy, Printify has really good production times and really good costs. So whether or not you are doing the production yourself or you're using print on demand with Printify, you're pretty competitive with the competition. So it's a really, kind of apples to apples with the competition. On Amazon, it's a little bit different, where on Amazon, there's people selling FBA products, fulfilled by Amazon that's going to get delivered in 2 days. There's also people also doing print on demand through Amazon with Amazon merch. Again, a product that is a print product that will get delivered in 2 days. So if you are side by side with an FBA product, side by side with an FBM product, and you're in the middle with a Printify product that is, 2 days production, standard shipping gets to you next week, it's just a losing battle on the production side. Even if it is a good, same design, same price point, same quality listing, same SEO, same everything, I think literally being a 7 days more in production time would be a losing battle. But honestly, since the birth of HelloCustom, like I had Printify's head of product development tell me that we actually continued our Amazon integration partly due to HelloCustom and the theme of personalization. That personalization is the one thing that you can leverage on Amazon that makes your product unique, and why someone is willing to wait an extra lead times for the product. That if this is 2 days delivered non-personalized, 2 days delivered non-personalized, and yours is personalized, if they want a personalized mug, who cares if it takes next week? Because they understand that you are making that product custom for them, and they're willing to wait for that lead for those lead times for that product. So that's kind of why we decided to build our Amazon integration in tandem with Printify. They launched their integration last week. We're about a week behind them. We're launching our Amazon integration next week, to where same thing. When a product is sold on Amazon, we receive that order into HelloCustom. We automate the personalization of the graphic. You hit approve, we go over to Printify. We create the product that is personalized, go back over to Amazon once shipped, and mark it as complete with the tracking information. So you're now able to sell personalized products on Amazon, which I honestly think is going to be game changing. Whenever there is a new way to make money on Amazon, it just blows up. Like, everyone knows someone who's made money on Amazon, whether it was with retail arbitrage or wholesale or FBA or merch or Audible. There's been so many different like booms throughout the last 7 years. I've done and ridden them all, which is why I know. But essentially, now that there is a way to, again, sell physical products on Amazon without having to have relationships with Chinese manufacturers, without having to have equipment or inventory, print on demand, and then also with merch, there's a problem when you YouTube, merch by Amazon, and all of the videos on page 1 of YouTube isn't how to do it. It's how to get approved to do it. That's just the approval rate it's really gated. And then even when you do get inside, they have tiers. So it's really hard to get approved, and it's really hard to scale. But there's so many people wanting to do that opportunity that I think if you want to do that, that this is the perfect alternative, that you can now sell, again, print-on-demand products on Amazon, which is what we wanted to do. But again, I think the kicker is to be able to compete with Prime, it has to be personalized. But also, you're not limited to products. Like with Amazon merch, you're limited to, I think, like 13 products. Printify has like 900 products. Like there are products like Christmas ornaments, for example, that are going to do amazing this Q4.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That you cannot get with merch that is profitable and is going to just kill it. So anyone who's like even thinking about Amazon, Christmas ornaments on Amazon is like, I think, the next product opportunity for Amazon. That if you go over to Etsy right now and you search Christmas ornament on Etsy, and you go over to Amazon and you type in Christmas ornament on Amazon, Amazon is actually less of a mature of a marketplace than Etsy, which is crazy. That's not normal. That Etsy actually has better products, better listings, better designs, because there has been a fulfillment opportunity for that product type on Etsy. There's been a lack of products on Amazon because you can't do FBA for the most people, because you can't do personalized, and that's what thrives. But also it's a non-merch product. So by launching a product that we know is going to skyrocket in Q4, that you know is profitable, that we know does well on Etsy, just launching those over on Amazon, I think, is like going to be a huge, anyone who does that is going to be amazing. Have a really good Q4.
Oh my goodness. And so are you just getting a normal Amazon seller account? Because I have I actually have a merch account, but this is different, right? This is like you're opening like an independent seller.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're going to be what's qualified as FBM, fulfilled by merchant. So this is not going to be, Amazon merch, where you're going to create an Amazon seller account, just as if you would create an Etsy seller account, where you could technically sell anything, but you're going to specifically just sell Printify's print-on-demand products as an Amazon seller.
Congratulations, Stephen. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I personally believe, and I've been saying it now for like the last 2 years, that I personally believe that Amazon is going to be the next big boom for print on demand, where print on demand isn't anything new. Print on demand wasn't started 4 years ago when Etsy had a big boom. Like I personally know people that made 7 figures back in 2013 on like Teespring. Like there was a big boom there for print on demand. The top practices became common practice. The industry then moved over to Etsy. Like that was the next big marketplace opportunity. We saw that boom back in 2020 on Etsy. I rode that boom myself. But again, Etsy has had millions of people jump on as a competition. So the competition is rising faster than the buyer growth. I still think Etsy is an amazing opportunity, but I feel like I do think when the market does shift, I think Amazon will be the next best complementary marketplace. So you can take all of your best selling Etsy products, go launch those over on Amazon, and then be some of the first products for those product types on Amazon on a new marketplace opportunity. So I just think there's so much I honestly feel like the next 1 to 2 years is going to make the Wild West for Printify Amazon integration, where hopefully HelloCustom is the missing domino with the personalization element.
Yeah, you're amazing. That's so impressive, Stephen. You clearly think a million miles a minute. I'm very impressed. So tell us, I want to make sure that people know that now there's like this lifetime access opportunity on HelloCustom. Do you want to share about that, and then just the best places to find you? Yeah,
of course. Lizzie will have a link for this, but essentially HelloCustom has a limited time lifetime deal where HelloCustom is normally $29.99 per month. The subscription is $30 per month, or like $360 per year. We launched a lifetime deal. So for one payment of $67, you can get lifetime access to HelloCustom. You'll never have to pay subscription fees ever again. So if you are maybe getting started, or you don't have a lot of sales today, or you're just dabbling in personalization, I think this is the perfect plan for you, where you can pay one payment of $67, get lifetime access to HelloCustom, and then you can have access to it for whenever you are ready to start leveraging personalization. And again, due to the sheer nature of this being a lifetime deal, it is available today, but I'm not sure if it's going to be available forever. So I would recommend just like locking it in while it is available, and then using it for when you're ready to use it.
Okay, you told me I could ask you anything. Why? Why are you doing that? That's crazy. That's so generous, Stephen. Tell me what motivated that.
Yeah. So again, like we built HelloCustom from an Etsy seller. We're not like a corporation where like the bottom line is the end goal. We found that the price point was the number one sticking point for people to not even try personalization in the first place. Where like, hey, I know I need to do personalization to be successful. I don't have the time myself because I have a full-time job or I have kids, and therefore they're not actually going to do the said opportunity. So we decided to like, hey, let's take that pain point away. Therefore, that is not a sticking point. That if anyone wants to do personalization, where I think you have to do it to be successful today for print on demand, I don't want that to be a sticking point. So we essentially made a full-time offer. It works for HelloCustom. We positioned it in a way to where it still works for us, but it also works for everyone else. So we were able to make that a win-win for everyone.
I'm so impressed. Thank you. Okay, so YouTube is a great place to find you. Is that the main place? I don't feel like I see you other places much, but that could be just me and my feed.
I'm not a social media guy, so I don't have TikTok. I'm not on Facebook. If you want to learn more about HelloCustom and what we were doing, YouTube would be the best place. Go to YouTube. It's at HelloCustom. We have tons of great tutorials. We're coming back to YouTube and we launch a lot of Amazon print-on-demand tutorials. So if you are interested about Etsy print-on-demand or even Amazon print-on-demand, I think that'd be the great place to subscribe and get ready for more content coming out.
I also have like 10 of your success stories added to my watch later list. So like we didn't get to hit on that a whole lot other than your one, Bridget, was it who you talked about, who had the great story, but those are great as well. So Stephen, thank you so much for your willingness to share. Thank you for your generosity and for just problem solving for all of us who just, you're brilliant, sir.
I appreciate it. It's been a blast talking. And again, I'm super excited for everything that's coming next for HelloCustom and just print on demand in general.
All right. Well, keep us posted.
Yeah, 100% will.
All right. Thanks, you guys, for listening in. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you're excited. If you go and try Amazon, I want to hear about it. I need all of the DMs and the emails. And until next week, go make something awesome. Thanks for being with us, y'all.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.